In 2016, the book Sprint came out, and it immediately transformed our company. We started using this process with all of our clients. They started asking us to train them on it. So since then, we've run hundreds of sprints. We've trained thousands of people on how to do their own design sprint. But the question is the design sprint still relevant today? So to answer that question, we figured it would be best to go to the source and ask the creators of the sprint, Jake Knapp and Zeratsky, whether they think the design sprint is still relevant today. So let's hear what they have to say.
Jake, it's been 15 years since you created the design sprint at Google. We worked together at Google Ventures. We ran design sprints with about 150 companies there. We introduced this method to the world with the sprint book in 2016. Is the design sprint still relevant in 2025?
Well, it seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? When you put it that way. And the world has changed a lot. I know that my day-to-day work has changed quite a bit since Sprint came out in 2016. Like there's a lot more video calls like this one. There's a lot of conversation with people where it's on screen, and that has changed the dynamics of many team mechanics when we're working with each other. However, some fundamental things have absolutely not changed. And I think the difficulty that exists when you're working on something and you want to get your team on the same page, when you want to all get aligned on the direction that you're headed, that's still just as challenging. That's just basic human dynamics. It remains as difficult as ever. If you want to quickly go from, we know this problem we're trying to solve, we need a solution, we need a prototype, that still takes a long time if you don't put the structure around it that the design sprint offers. And it's very hard to create a deadline that you really stick to unless you schedule something with an outsider. And the design sprint allows you to schedule something with outside customers at the end of 1 week and right away get those learnings. So it's all of these wonderful things wrapped together. It's the deadline, it's the mechanics that allow a team to work together, do independent work, but also become aligned as the week goes by, as they see which solution really works well with customers and get that instant feedback, that instant data through that simulation of building a realistic prototype and putting it in front of customers. And it turns out that stuff is all fundamental enough that it still matters in the middle of the 2020s. And I think it'll matter in the 2030s and 2040s as well, because just being a group of humans working on something has challenges, and the design sprint's designed to help with those.
One of the ways that we know that the design sprint is still relevant is that we use it all the time. We're working with startups through our venture fund, Character Capital. We're investing in companies who are just starting. They're in their first couple of months of building something new, and we're running design sprints to help them figure out what they're doing and figure out if it's going to work. Can you share some of the other ways that people have been using design sprints in the present day, in the here and now?
Yeah, well, I mean, we hear stories all the time from not just the interesting, sort of outside of the software world. People are using it in governments. People are using it in insurance companies and banks. Automotive manufacturers are using design sprints. Toy manufacturers are using design sprints.
Yeah,
all those
airlines.
Things. Yeah, and it's so cool to see. Not what I think we envisioned at all in the beginning, but it's just been a powerful, useful tool. But we're also hearing stories from the companies of the moment, OpenAI or Figma, that these kinds of places are also running design sprints and using them to solve problems, to test their new ideas out quickly. And so it seems like it's just been a durable, useful tool for people, which is so exciting. I mean, it's so fun. It remains really, really cool. We've also done some work, you and I, to develop a new format of sprint. And this is a tool that people can use before running a design sprint that I don't know, you tell me what you think. I think it makes design sprints even better.
Yeah, the foundation sprint helps a team really clearly define a simple hypothesis for their new project. They can say, this is the customer we're focused on. This is the problem we're solving for them. This is why our solution is different and better. And that makes the design sprint that much more effective because it allows you to be really clear with yourselves, with your team, and with your customers about what you're trying to learn. What are you trying to test? What are those atomic elements of that hypothesis of, hey, we believe if we put this out in the world, it's going to have that effect. It allows you to really put those things front and center with your customers and get direct reactions, get direct feedback from them to find out whether they're true. So it's sort of like supercharging the beginning of the design sprint to just set you up for an even more effective and impactful use of time.
The teams that we've worked with over the years who had the best success in their product's lifespan, the design sprint led to the biggest and best outcomes, these, multi-billion-dollar exits or whatever. They're teams who had a really clear hypothesis. They knew exactly what was going to set them apart. They knew exactly who their customer was, what problem they were solving, and what made their team special, what gave them the special advantage that could create something that would blow the competition out of the water. And with the foundation sprint, we're putting into your hands the tools to create that kind of hypothesis, that kind of clarity that guides the most successful teams. So if you've got the sprint book teaching you how to run design sprints, our new book, Click, is kind of the thing that goes right before that helps you get started and get on the golden path to the best possible project, the best possible product that your customers will hopefully just love.
Jake, one more question for you, and it's probably the most common question that people ask us about the design sprint, at least in the last year and a half, which is, what about AI? Can you use AI in a design sprint? Do companies building AI products, do they still need design sprints? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was in a Harvard Business School class yesterday, and someone asked this question. It is on the top of everyone's mind. There are certain to be amazing tools using AI that will help with a design sprint very soon. I have not found them yet. So I think I'm wary of using AI to do some of the analysis that we humans do in a design sprint, where we're looking at different proposals and trying to weigh which of these sounds right, which customer do we think we should target, which sort of differentiation is the best for us, the truest for us. Those are such important decisions to make that I don't want to offload too much of that organization to a computer just yet. I think there are very promising avenues for AI to help with making suggestions from a particular angle of expertise that we consider. But again, they're just not quite there yet for us. We have found—
But stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah. We have found that AI enables a different level and speed of prototyping in many cases. So whereas I think when the book came out, and in fact, even 5 years ago, probably 95% of the prototypes we tested were mock-ups, essentially, with hotspots, transitions. They looked like real software, they looked like real products, but they were mock-ups. Now those prototypes, probably 50-50, are code, and they're delivering real results. They're using data. They're much more interactive, and that's because of how fast people can build using AI. They can just develop software much faster. I expect that 50-50 is only going to continue to grow. You have more and more real feeling, real code behind the prototypes. So that's a big difference that I think we're seeing already.
Yes. And then the other side of the question is, what about teams who are building AI products? Is the design sprint more relevant for them, less relevant than it was for, teams 5-10 years ago in sort of the pre-AI era?
I think that it's even more important to do this work of figuring out what your customer's problem is, what matters to them, and how you can solve it. Because the barrier for entry into any particular domain is getting lower. It's easier to build software now with AI. It's easier to build more powerful tools. So that means you've got to dial in even closer to what really matters for people. You've really got to do everything possible to make your solution matter, to make it make sense to people, to make it trustworthy to people, to set yourselves apart from the other competition that may be going after the same thing. And I think ironically, it's a better understanding of humans that's more necessary now in a world where the computers are more powerful.
Yeah, because every time there's a new technology, there's a new capability, a new way of doing things, it's natural for customers, for people to feel uneasy about that, to wonder if they should trust it. Is it good enough? Is it safe enough? Is it going to work? And those are exactly the kinds of questions that we can answer really effectively in a design sprint. Most of the companies that we invest in and we work with at Character Capital are AI startups. And again, when we run sprints with them, they say, wow, this really helped us kind of bridge that gap between this amazing technology and our customers who, rightfully so, have questions, concerns. They're wondering if they should trust it. They're wondering how to understand it. So we've seen it work really well. And we think it's a really helpful tool for people who are building brand new products with AI.
At the end of the day, you have to solve a problem for people in a way that is vastly different and better from the alternatives. And that requires that you understand the shape of the space between your customer and your technology. And you know how to build the right thing, not just a thing, but the right thing. In a world where AI is everywhere, anyone can offer it. What's special is if you can offer the right solution, and you've got to have the right techniques to get there. We think the foundation sprint and the design sprint are incredibly powerful for making that click between the product and the customer.
So there you go. That's the answer to the question, is the design sprint still relevant today? You got to hear from Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky directly, and we couldn't agree more. We think design sprint is still incredibly powerful today. We run design sprints all the time. And so if you want to learn more about design sprint, we highly recommend that you pick up the book, and you can also pick up Jake and John's new book called Click, and you can find the links to both of these books in the description below. So if you want to learn even more about the design sprint and other amazing processes, you should definitely check out Facilitator Club. It's our free community. It's filled with people who have run tons of design sprints, and you can learn from the experiences of other people. You can ask your own questions. So make sure to check that out. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.